Films, by and large, are a very, very important tool of education, is what I strongly believe. And he said, my daughter has committed suicide 3 months back because she couldn't score well in 12th standard, and it was the family pressure. Everybody said that, look, you failed. I wish this film was released before. See, make her watch this film, and today probably my child would have been alive. If at all there is some change that needs to be done from a typical learning point of view, I think we need to focus at the beginning years of the school. They don't want to read any information which is beyond examination point of view. So we need to build this habit right from the childhood, that there is information beyond textbook which you should be aware of if you want to grow up as a responsible citizen of the country. So it should happen at both the levels.
And I agree. And I think, it's a great way also to get GK back into classrooms, right? Because it's all current affairs.
Absolutely. Media system, or how the media system functions, or it carries its own biases, it has its own propaganda. People are not aware of it. They just think that छप के आया है newspaper में तो वो सही होना चाहिए.
Our today's guest is an educator, communication strategist, TEDx speaker, gender advocate, and a storyteller. With over 17 years of experience, she shaped conversations across classrooms and global platforms, blending media production with pedagogy. She creates impactful educational content through her role at Onjai Art Productions. From thought-provoking films to UN talks, her work bridges intellect and impact. Let's welcome Daivata Chavan Patil to the show. Hi.
Hi.
Welcome to the show. We get a lot of interesting guests, but I just loved reading your profile, and I think the sort of experience that you have is going to add a lot of value to our viewers. You've been a Marcom executive, marketing and communication back in the days, right? I don't want to say how long, because then people will start guessing your age. So we'll stick to maybe two decades back.
Yeah, 2 decades.
Probably 2 decades back. Then, very young age, you also became a team leader or a manager. Then you moved into education, right? You became a professor, and you've been teaching for what, 14, 15 years?
18th year.
Wow, 18 years now. And then you have also gone as a delegate to UN, educating about women's rights and women's health. You've also made 2 films, right? So congratulations. It's been like an amazing journey. We'll dive into everything. But let's start with everybody's favorite topic, right? That is not education. Unfortunately, it is films. But the sort of content that you're doing is, if I can use the word, it's educational in nature, right?
Yeah.
You're the right person to talk about your film. So why don't you go ahead?
I think films are a great tool of education. We, as makers of the film, we never make a film with the intention of educating. Obviously, because the ultimate goal is to make it as a business. But somewhere, the kind of story narratives we have, or the topics that we deal with, people learn. So the intention may not be to teach them, but at the audience level, there is some kind of learning or unlearning.
Also some
that happens.
entertainment, right? It has to be
Yes.
gripping. I need to find the story which I can connect with. Otherwise,
Absolutely.
it becomes...
So it's easy when something very complex information is communicated in a storytelling format. So I always say that, look, I'm a storyteller.
Nice.
And looking at India social systems, I think we've given 2 epics to the country, Mahabharata and Ramayana. Besides, we have a lot of mythical narratives, we have a lot of stories, which have always been part of our growing and cultural ecosystem. So stories is something which comes very naturally to us, not just as a listener, but as also a storyteller. I believe that all of us are storytellers. It's just that some of us are good with the narratives, while some of them lack that experience.
Correct.
Some of the stories get very popular, and some of them lack that kind of popularity. But films, by and large, are a very, very important tool of education, is what I strongly believe.
I agree. I think, we also remember the best teachers who connected with us through some, if they had a nice storytelling format, even boring subjects would really stand out.
Absolutely.
We used to love those teachers. Do you want to talk more about your film? What was the subject matter of your film, and the new film that is coming up?
I've produced 2 films so far. The first one was about can 12th standard be a turning point in a child's education life? So the film name was Barayan. 12वीं के वजह से घर घर जो रामायण होता है वो बारायण है.
Nice.
And even today, like the film was released in 2018, but the topic still seems to be so relevant that the child will either go for engineering or medical as 2 career options. If you fail to get admission in medical or engineering, your life as a student is doomed.
Correct.
So, and then that you know, you're setting that depression point for the kids that look now कुछ नहीं हो सकता तुम्हारा. So
Scored badly. Now you have to choose.
you can't do anything.
Yeah.
So I said that there were some other films which talked about education system and the challenges or flaws in the education system. I wanted to delve into the social system of it, like the social, looking at this issue from a parent's perspective, that why are you putting so much of burden on the child, that look 12th standard engineering, medical, and if you don't get either of them, there's so much of silence in the house. I remember that. I'm sure all these majority of the houses have this discussion after 12th standard. What should the child do? And if it's not medical engineering, and then you're like gone. So my film started with that. In fact, it's my husband who directed the film, his personal story. So he's an engineering dropout who couldn't excel, I mean, who couldn't take admission in medicals. He got into engineering and he failed in the first year, and he said, look, this is not my cup of tea. So I thought that maybe I should make a film which will sensitize the parents, if not at a very great level, but at least if it percolates the idea that let the child choose his or her own career path. And I remember this special show which we had for parents back then when the film was due to release. I had this parent who stood up after the show and he said, my daughter has committed suicide 3 months back because she couldn't score well in 12th standard, and it was the family pressure. Everybody said that, look, you failed. I wish this film was released before.
Yeah.
I wish I could see, make her watch this film, and today probably my child would have been alive. That was a moment which shook me. I said, look, films can do so much to the society.
Yeah, and I think any story which, if it reaches the right people and gives the right message, I think that's far more, doing, I mean, taking that whole message far more and far deeply than, movies which are just for entertainment for like whatever 2.5 hours you come out, you either abuse the, the whole thing that, you wasted my 2.5 hours, or, there's some entertainment. Yeah, I had a good time, but you forget about it. But I think stories like what you are trying to say, I think no matter how many people it reaches, I think it does create an impact.
Absolutely. In fact, you don't have to make your stories preachy because the primary job of films is to entertain people. But you can, like Toilet Ek Prem Katha,
Yes.
those kind of films where the message goes in a very, very entertaining manner. So there's song, there's dance, there's dialogues, humor, all of that, and still that message percolates in the minds of people.
Correct.
A good director would attempt that.
Yeah. So congratulations. I mean, second movie is already done, or you're still
It's
working?
already done. We are doing the festival rounds. We've already screened the film in a couple of film
Can
festivals.
you speak about that film, the
Yes.
subject matter, or without giving too much details?
Yeah, the film is about ASHA workers. ASHA is a scheme which is accredited social health activist under Government of India. This is called National Health Mission. And there are currently about 12 lakh plus ASHA workers working in the country.
Wow.
And this story brings their work to the common people. I call them silent army of health, where they are doing so much on bringing the maternal mortality rate down, or infant mortality rate, or ensuring that vaccination is reaching out to the interior parts of India. So this primarily works in the rural India and some part of towns. You won't find ASHA workers in cities. But of course, there's where...
Are they also part of, sometimes people come to your house and they say, polio drops for children. Is that also through ASHA?
No, those are volunteers. ASHAs have a uniform, and the scheme came under National Health Mission.
Yeah.
So,
No, but I know what you're trying to say. These are silent workers, because we also, like, somebody will come knocking to the door and say, hey, do you have a child? And and we don't know who they are. We don't know their story, and the sort of work they are bringing. We've got eradicated polio,
Yeah.
and uh, this work that Asha team is doing. They're working with mostly with what women health related to.
They're working with everyone, not
Yeah.
just women,
Hmm.
but primarily the whole idea was to ensure that maternal mortality rate and infant mortality rate is brought down,
Hmm.
because there's PHC, public health centers,
Hmm.
which may not be in all the places,
Correct.
interiors.
Correct.
So ashas are the mediators who would ensure that iron tablets are given to lactating mothers or pregnant women.
Okay.
They'll ensure that the child is getting vaccination on time, or they are giving necessary health information. They are helping identify tuberculosis, all of that. They are not doctors,
Yeah.
but they are community health workers. So, in fact, during COVID also, if you see a lot of data that was coming to in media that we were reading, it was coming from ASHA workers. And after COVID, I think in 2022, World Health Organization, awarded them as global health achievers because of the contribution they did to COVID.
Wow. And see, I'm feeling so bad that, I can say I'm decently educated, done my postgrad, but I have no idea about all these silent workers who are doing so much for the nation. And kudos to you. I mean, you're making a film on them, you're celebrating their story. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Right. So, people like us, who sit in some urban part of the country thinking that life is all rosy. Life is not all rosy for a lot of people, and there are people who are working for them, and great, you made a movie. Uh, which brings me to another point. You've also been a delegate at the UN
Yes.
through your foundation, Dhoop.
No, I was not representing my foundation. I was a delegate from Indian Development Foundation, which is a 40-year-old NGO.
Hmm.
They have their major contribution was leprosy eradication in India back then.
Okay.
So they've been very active in that. So I was IDF delegate to United Nations
Nice.
this year and last year.
And what was your you spoke about something, right?
I
Okay.
did
So
spoke.
maybe you want to tell our audience, what did you speak about?
Yeah, since I made this film and I was part of CSW, which is Commission for Status of Women.
Hmm.
Every year, UN has this commission. This was its 69th year. And this year was important because it was 30 years of adopting Beijing Declaration by United Nations Women. One of the 12-point axis was women and health. So the film which I made and the work which I was doing just naturally, organically, collided with what the theme of the UN was. So I decided to share the work of Silent Army of India,
Yeah.
ASHA workers. And I spoke about my film. I showed the trailer of the film there, and I said that, look, this is what my government is doing to bring the maternal mortality rate and infant mortality rate, and how ASHAs have been very, very functional. I think, to the best of my knowledge, it is a very unique scheme to our country only. So I propagated that countries in Africa who are facing similar health challenges should adopt a scheme like ASHA.
Yeah, and if we've been how successful have we been in adopting this?
Well, I think to bring the maternal mortality rate, we started our journey with 300 per deaths per 1 lakh. And
That's 0.3%.
yes,
Okay.
and now it is approximately 97 deaths per 1 lakh.
So that'll be 0.097. That's less than
Less than 1%.
less than 0.1%.
Yes,
Wow.
and we are
This is
very
all achieved in how many years?
approximately 20 years, 2006 to 2024.
Wow.
And
That's commendable.
yeah, that's commendable. And we are close to the UN goal of 70 and less.
Oh, we are still lacking behind,
We are still lagging behind.
unfortunately. Okay, but I think the sort of work that we've done as a nation, I think that's pretty commendable.
Yeah, SDG 2030. I think, I'm sure by 2030 we will be able to achieve the goal.
Wow. Wow. I mean, and this is again something that your film is talking about,
Yes.
like their role, and I mean, of course, in an entertaining way. And
This is not the just thing that my film is propagating. It is also a film not just about Asha. It's about all women who go out and work. put aside to stand for themselves. So Ashas in rural areas, their story as working women in no less than someone like me who is working as a professor in one of the metro cities of India. The struggles that we have to step out of the house as a working woman, and then work-life balance and children and the societal pressure, all of that, husband need for husband being supportive, all those issues are addressed to in our film. Apart from that, we are also wanting the women to be aware of their own reproductive rights. It's your body. You are delivering the child.
Let me stop you here. Do we have anything like constitutionally enshrined rights for women's, their reproductive rights? Is there anything enshrined in the Constitution?
Nothing that I'm aware of in black and white. We have this right to health and right to women's health is part of it, but nothing that particularly, underlines and highlights and defines that reproductive rights of women. UNDP is doing it. Not UNDP, sorry. UNFPA is doing it. United Nations Population Fund, which particularly focuses on reproductive rights of women. And we do have UNFPA body in India, Delhi, Mumbai also has one office. So through them, they are having these workshops and other activities which ensures that women know
So,
their
I mean,
rights.
you're saying constitutionally women do have right to they have their
Not
reproductive
not
rights,
defined right. It comes under right to health.
right to health. Okay. Okay. For a minute, I was like, wow, our constitution really went deep and, thought about everything. But yeah, I mean, a general health and, if people can be aware of, especially women, if they can be aware of their rights, even though if it is in a much larger scale or, in a very wider scope, I think that still helps them, right?
Absolutely.
Right. So, the whole idea of this podcast is that, uh, we are discussing education not from the lens of what degree should you get, and what career path you should take, or which school you should go to, or which college you should go to. The whole idea is that education goes beyond your classrooms, it goes beyond, and as a nation, uh, we are a very rapidly, I mean, some of the numbers you gave me in last 20 years, we've achieved a lot, right? And it's not just in one aspect. I think as a nation, we are growing in a lot of things very, very quickly. Uh, Education also needs to evolve, right? And what you're doing is also part of education, right? You're educating the entire ecosystem, if not just one child or one mother, but the entire system. So um, yeah, but let's go a little bit behind, and I mean, few years behind, and let's talk about your stint as a professor. What brought you there?
Uh, I think all these career options, not just teaching per se, there was no defining moment in my life where I said, look, one fine day I want to be a teacher, I want to start with an NGO or advocate women's issues. Life just happened to me, and I allowed myself to go with the flow. So teaching as a career option was never a thought of career option. It just happened accidentally. But of course, now I'm enjoying it. It's been like 18, this is my 18th year into teaching as an educator. So yeah, majorly I teach media students. Communication is my domain. So how to communicate from various aspects is what I preach about.
You made it sound very, you didn't think about it, but I'm sure, you're a successful professor, right? You've you've achieved quite a bit. I'm sure, and your students. I mean, I know one of your students who's introduced us, so I'm sure you made an impact, as a professor. So I truly believe that teachers can only make an impact if they have some internal vision, which is not exactly the vision of, may or may not be the vision of the institution or a college or whatever. They have their internal compass, which is pointing in the right direction, and they come with that their own passion and fire, which helps them to approach all these subjects in a way that it empowers their own students and educates them in a slightly better way than what is expected.
Absolutely. In fact, I won't say that I was always an educator. I've learned a lot from my children also.
Mm.
So I deal with master's students, and I think learning is a process. So an educator cannot just stop at one place and decide like now I am fully equipped to educate the class. It doesn't happen. Every classroom, you are giving and you are also taking something back from them. You
Mhm.
know, so there are learnings which I have nurtured. I don't mind. I'm open to learning from my students also. And of course, your presence in the classroom have to be very, it has to have an impact on them, because uh, they not just in the curriculum sense,
Mm.
but as a persona. If you should have an impact which will stay with them for a lifelong. Like I remember this student of mine who came to visit me after like 6-7 years, when he was getting married, and he came with his wedding card. He said, I still remember what you used to teach in class. I said, okay. And he has used my dialogues in class in his career. I said, give me one of them. So one thing which I always, and even today I say, that is, हम हमारी लड़कियों को लड़कों की तरह पालते हैं, लेकिन हम हमारे लड़कों को लड़कियों की तरह नहीं पालते हैं.
Mm.
तो हम बहुत प्राउडली कहते हैं कि लुक, आई माय गर्ल चाइल्ड आई हैव रेज्ड
Yeah, I know what you
like a
say.
boy.
Yeah.
So that means, is there something demeaning about being a girl?
Yeah.
And that just, I mean, I just said it.
Hmm.
And it stayed with him
Yeah.
for long. And he said, Ma'am, wherever I go, I always say that thing to whichever.
This is what I was trying to get out from you. It's like your moral compass, or the passion was always empowerment, going beyond, and helping out fellow human beings, especially women, and giving them access to, in some countries might just be as basic as, having a child in a regular hospital. Right. So you were always driven by, these things. I mean, it sounds like you were.
Yeah, I think my father was in Indian Army. He served nation for 29 years. And I grew up in a ecosystem which was always multilingual, multicultural. Inclusivity and diversity were alien words, because we never thought that, oh, there exists something like inclusivity and diversity. We were always diverse. We were always inclusive in terms of language, culture, food habits, all of that. So yeah, and then that gave me a lot of exposure, both socially and culturally, to meet people from different backgrounds. And I think that just became part of my personality, where I think of other person first, uh, from a very social and cultural point. Right? I cannot say there was a defining moment that now onwards I've become a sensitive person. It just was there.
Yeah.
Thanks to the parents also. I think a lot of our upbringing is, we should
Yeah,
credit
of
to our
course, it's
parents.
shaped by, and I think Indian Army also helps, right? Because Indian Army in itself is a very secular
Yes.
force, right? And
Yes.
and were you also moving
No, my mother
cities?
was not well, keeping well. She was a heart patient. So for health reasons, we stayed we were stationed in one, which is Pune. My father used to, travel. But it doesn't matter. Like people across like my classroom composition as a child in school were never same. So I am best friend with someone in seventh grade, and by eighth grade, the child is, that friend is
Because it
gone.
was army school.
Yes, it was an army school. So the classroom composition kept changing, and so did
And also
my.
people from various parts of the country.
So every time you are going to a new classroom, you are trying to adapt yourself to the new environment and trying to accustom yourself. So that made me a very adaptive person.
Yeah, and I think also it opens up your perspective about a lot of things
Yes.
in life. What I'm understanding is that army school and getting exposed to children from different backgrounds, not different backgrounds, mostly same background of army, but different regions of the country, brought it. Yeah, I think it added to a lot to your life. So I think getting exposed to diversity at a young age. India is a pretty diverse country. Unfortunately, if you're stuck in a city, then you only learn about that city. But in your case, though you were in a city, but you still got exposure. So I think that sort of built understanding of diversity better, and maybe got empathy out more.
Yeah, I think I would agree to that.
Yeah. So, that was your school life. But I want to come back to your teaching days, I mean, which are still on, as a professor, you're dealing with PGs, right?
Yes.
Mostly 21 plus. I speak to a lot of guests that we speak from what a 6-year-old is thinking to what a 13-year-old is thinking, and mostly it's limited to school. And, we are trying to see how we can change school education. You are dealing with the other end, right? They are doing what, 2 years PG, 3 years PG?
2 years.
2 years PG, and then they are ready to go and face the world, right?
Yes. Yes.
So, from that perspective, what do you think is missing in their? Um, I, I mean, it's a very loaded question because we can speak about a lot of things, but uh, as a professor, what are the things that you think that if these children would have learned this, say in college or in school, then our job would be much easier. Then we can focus on XYZ and not focus on this.
I think I always say that by the time they come for PG education, the damage is already done.
Oh, wow.
So,
That's sad.
yeah, because a lot of personality as a student is shaped up in the formative years, in the nursery or up to grade 5. So, what the style of your learning remains same throughout.
Correct.
So, if at all there is some change that needs to be done from a typical learning point of view, I think we need to focus at the beginning years of the school. By the time they come to us, they're already shaped up. Both like socially, psychologically, there's already a family system which is in place, which has helped them understand their perspective or build their perspective. So unlearning that and learning it again from a mature point of view, that is at the PG level, from a professional point of view, is something which not every child is able to do. Because
Can you be more specific when you say learning? I understand learning styles, right? Because uh, I don't want to make it like we're complaining, but I know most schools focus on rote learning, and all our degree programs, or let it be 10th grade, 12th grade, or graduate level, mostly by and large, let's not say 100%, but by and large it is about rote learning. You learn something, you put it down during your final exams, and your degree decides your this thing. So
thankfully, the new education policy,
yeah,
which is launched, has taken care of these aspects.
agreed.
And I'm glad that it is launched
Finally
and
rolled,
now.
yeah.
And we won't see the results immediately, but maybe 5 years down the lane, there will be some some things,
Observable differences,
observable
yeah.
changes that we can see. So. In the traditional school system so far, we've had rote learning, as you rightly said, a lot of memory based learning as well as evaluation systems. So if you are evaluating a child on a particular aspect, the child will prioritize that style of learning.
And unfortunately, it's only memory, right?
It's only memory. So we need to, therefore, at the PG level, we have to unlearn and make them learn about the critical thinking, the critical reflections, because you are a media student. You're the fourth pillar of democracy, working for a very important aspect of nation building. So you can't have your own stereotypical biases, which you'll carry forward and work as a media professional. So one of the tasks that I have in semester 1 itself is to break the stereotype, stereotypical mindset, to break the biases they have, inherent biases they carry from from their 21 years of life, and then say that, look, you have to be neutral, you have to be balanced in your approach. So to whatever syllabus delivers is one aspect of it, to write exams and all of that. But the other side that I focus majorly is on how they grow up as a professional, and that also is a media professional. So bringing out the best from them. Not everybody can reach to 90 percentile, 90 percentage. So whatever, if you are at 50, my job is to bring you to 60 or 70. If you're 70, my job is to bring you to 80. So I think that is what all teachers, work towards. So I try to do that. So yeah, unlearning and learning is one major challenge which I face in my class.
I feel it's such an important point that you spoke about, right? Building character, because everything else you can learn from the books, but as a teacher, as a professor, I think building your students' character is such a noble thing, and it's such an important thing that you're right. I mean, I do take your advice. I work with pre-primary. So I will I do take your advice, and I'll take it back to my team and talk about how do we build character at a very young age, because learning styles, yes, as you said, it's adapting, right? And NEP is brilliant, so a lot of things are coming up. But yeah, shaping character, learning style, I think combination will definitely help.
Also, we need to ensure that they are reading beyond textbooks. Because again, our evaluation systems are such that, look, this is a textbook and now you have to learn from it and write the exam. So by the time they are at PG, they, जिसको हम मराठी में अवांतर वाचन बोलते हैं, reading from all perspective, reading beyond, not just stories, not just novels, but something which is information. People find reading information very heavy. It puts a cognitive load. At least they assume that it is putting a cognitive load, while I agree that it doesn't. So they don't want to read any information which is beyond examination point of view. So we need to build this habit right from the childhood, that there is information beyond textbook which you should be aware of if you want to grow up as a responsible citizen of the country.
Correct. And in real life, there is no yes and no answer, right? And it's unfortunate that for so many years we teach children that this is the answer or it's wrong, right? But when we approach life, we realize that there could be multiple answers. And I think journalism is one of the things that which says that, hey, there are so many perspectives, and journalism sort of tries to get a balanced perspective. You want to talk more about the role models? I mean, this could be, again, I don't want to put you in spot, but do we have really good role models today in our as journalists or in the media rooms or newsrooms that children should look up to?
I think I would skip this one because things have changed drastically in the media sector.
Yeah.
And defining role model is also something which varies from person to person.
So how do you tell your children what not to do? You say this is not, or rather these shouldn't be your role model? Do you all go and take that approach?
No, I generally avoid doing that. And I'm a mother of 13, and I avoid doing that to my child also.
13-year-old.
Yes, 13-year-old.
People will think you're mother of 30. So
okay, sorry.
I just wanted to add that correction.
I'm a mother of 13-year-old, and I generally avoid doing that to my child also, that I should not tell what is right or what is wrong. Every person has their own life journey, and a good teacher will let the child grow in its best form, rather than, I don't want to make my prototype. I don't want to make another Daivata Patil in my student. So I want the child to understand his or her own journey. So I would just say that, see, this is what I believe. If I would have been in your place, this is what I would have done. But if this is the decision I've taken, I think these are the pros and cons of these decisions.
Yeah.
You choose your own path.
Yes.
So that has always been my style of teaching. And I think we all are different. God has made all of us look different. So we should be different rather than...
It brings me to a very, a sentence or a statement by one of my favorite psychologists. I think he says that we all have to live the consequences of our decisions.
Yes.
Right? So when I say consequences, or when he says consequences, he doesn't mean it in a negative or a positive way. He just means that whatever we choose to do, we have to live with those consequences.
One of the important aspect of what you said is, then there are at least no regrets in life.
Yeah.
Because then if someone else is taking a decision, maybe your parent or a teacher or anyone who is your role model, then it comes with its own baggage.
Correct.
So if you have chosen your path, then there is no regret. There should not be any regret. Correct. So you are living a regret-free life that way.
Yeah. So I mean, as I said, I work with younger children, so life is much easier. But what you're saying, 21-year-old, they already have a lot of ideas formed in their head. They're already influenced. Even if you say that to a 21-year-old, you should not be influenced by XYZ or what you're watching on TV, I'm sure they are already set in a lot of ways. right? And I do find that teaching a 21-year-old would be much more challenging. So
It is.
do you want to share any story of I liked what you spoke about one of your students, right? Do you meet a lot of your students?
Yeah, I do. I mean, thankfully, I have a very good connect with all my students, and I'm blessed with good memory. So I remember their names, batch.
Anybody that we would know?
Uh, there's one in your studio right now sitting.
Oh yeah, that one I know. But anybody which more people would know, like they're already working with a big
I think
media.
I would not name them
Okay,
because they'll be.
but they are already.
They are there. There are journalists who are already. I'm not sure whether they would want to name.
Yeah, yeah, of course,
So,
no names, but
so I would
yeah.
not take name. But yeah, there's Mayur Sarfare, there's Prasanna Joshi, there are a lot of other students who are already working.
So my understanding of education is, as you said, everybody has got their own perspective. I have a different perspective towards education, and every time a guest comes in, I'm like, I want to ask them most important. I mean, this is the most important reason why I'm doing this, right? That uh, education can't be just literacy, numeracy, or getting that degree. Education is beyond that, right? And we are trying to understand how we can make education um true to life, right? Right now, it seems like a lot of people get educated in something else and end up doing something else because and education is also lifelong, right? Like what you are doing, you're working with women and government agencies and NGOs. Again, you're educating a lot of them. So my question to you is, how do you look at education, and what do you think should be approach to holistic education?
I think the moment you say education system,
Hmm.
you are putting a lot of limitations by defining it as a system,
Hmm.
because our system comes up with its own structures and
Correct.
rigidity and all of that. So I have a problem with that word when you say that it's education system. Education is something which is more flowing. If the socio-economic, cultural positions are changing, the learning environments are changing, the social environments are changing, so should be the education should also evolve accordingly. The moment you say it's a system, so that by the time you are suggesting a change, it follows a board of studies and other formalities, and it comes into the syllabus. The society has already changed, so at any given point of time, what you are teaching is lacking at least a year or two
Hmm.
from what the parallel world is, no? The real world is all about.
Correct.
So we should have that flexibility in the way we are teaching in the classrooms by having a right combination of practice and theory. So theories are not going to change. So we have these set of theories which we teach, but the way we are teaching those theories, the examples that we are giving, while we explain, those should be practice based, so that you are at pace with what the society is like. This is something which the teachers have to learn. Unfortunately, I'd see that motivation in teachers also, where they are taking efforts to keep themselves, upgraded and updated, because maths is something, maths and mathematics or history are. Uh, it's already there in fact format. Why should I change it? But then there are ways in which you can tell the stories of maths. You can change your
You
stories.
were telling me one example of how you were working with an organization where you were changing um, you were teaching the same thing, but you were changing the way it was taught, right? You give me a great example.
Uh,
Uh,
yeah, I'll share that example. I was working for an NGO as an academic auditor, and we were empowering or making girl child education. We were ensuring that the
you're
girl
talking about
child.
dropouts. It's the
Yes,
same thing,
yes,
right?
it's the
Yeah.
same thing. So we wanted to ensure that the girl child dropout is reduced. We were counseling parents. We conducted a lot of workshops with them. Uh, Motivate them that look, why girl child education is important. That was one aspect of it. The other aspect that we were addressing to is teaching them English or yoga or basic health and hygiene and all of that. So while we thought that we are teaching English to them, we carried these English grammar books which are for the metro cities. We had these bunch of books which we trained. We had this teacher training program, and all of that was done. Within a couple of months, we realized that this is not going to work because there was a lot of language learning as well as there was a lot of conceptual learning that we were burdening the children with. So, for example, a statement like William eats bread and jam. Now, I want to teach the child that खाना खाना जो है वो प्रोसेस को हम eating कहते हैं. अब इतनी सिंपल चीज को पढ़ाते वक्त I'm introducing the child with the concepts of William, which the child has never
heard the name.
the name around.
In that rural area, nobody's named William, right?
Exactly. Or you are telling them bread and jam, which the child maybe has seen in cinema only.
Yeah.
So I am burdening the child with a lot of concepts, which otherwise is not my purpose. Probably somewhere in other classroom, I can say that, look, there are types of breads.
Yeah.
And you have this bread.
Correct.
But today I want to teach the child that khana khane ko eating kehte hain. So then we came back from the field. We took a gap of 6 months. We customized the entire syllabus, keeping the socio-cultural setup in the mind. We were in the interior parts of Rajasthan, so we also ensured that there are a lot of Rajasthani words, dal bati or similar words which we made as part of a syllabus. So if there is something similar concept that comes as part of my learning, there is immediate connection.
Correct. It has to be relevant, right, to their lives.
So we avoided all the alien words which could have challenged the child, and it just worked.
Nice. I mean, as I said, at the beginning, that your life, your story is very, very inspiring. You've done quite a bit of work, and I wish you all the best, that you keep continuing and growing in whatever you're doing. You have this, if I can use the word, strong opinion or strong belief that media literacy should be taught at a younger age, not wait till they're 21, maybe introduce it at some part, maybe in middle school, right? What's the reason? I mean, you are advocating for it. I see the need, but I'm not very clear. So if you can explain it.
I think, as I said, that a lot of learning that happens to people, media plays a significant role in it. So apart from the social systems and the family systems, what you see on screen, in television or in mobile screen, that is also...
All the reels, right?
Yes, all the reels, everything, every thing that is on media, or if you're reading any article, all that is helping you or not helping you learn something. And therefore, I think how the media system or how the media system functions, or it carries its own biases, it has its own propaganda. People are not aware of it. They just think that छप के आया है newspaper में तो वो सही होना चाहिए.
So you're saying that it's shaping minds, right? I mean, for whatever, good or bad, but it does influence and changes the way we think.
Yes.
I see that. Suddenly if you're passionate about a certain topic, right, and you'll watch that on, say, Instagram reel, and suddenly you're only bombarded by, because the algorithm understands, right, that you're, and again, I'm not promoting to be pro or anti anything, but say you will see some anti something, some videos, right? True. Anti whatever, something, right? Then suddenly you'll only get videos about that, right? And it'll keep reshaping your thinking about, say, or if you're pro something, and nowadays children are pro about a lot of things, everybody's this thing, and you're saying this is all connected to a larger strategy of shaping minds?
Yeah, even the toddlers these days, 1-year-olds have mobile screen in their hand. Unfortunately, but you can't deny the learning that they are that is happening through the reels or whatever they are looking
Cartoons
at,
or whatever they are watching.
Whatever. So it's important that if not at that early age, but once they understand middle school or so, they should be taught about how the media functions, so that they start critically engaging with the media content. And if we are able to do that, I think ultimately they are the voters. So by the time they have voting rights, they already know how to critically, read the information. And I think it is important that we should introduce media education right at the school level, not just in the classroom system, but I'm saying that it should be part of the syllabus curriculum. And media education, how one should teach media. So these teachers that are schooling, teaching in schools, should be taught how media functions. So it should happen at both the levels.
Both the level. I agree, because if teachers can't differentiate, then students will have.
Yes.
And I think now I get your point, right? And I also feel that it's a great way also to get GK back into classrooms, right? Because it's all current affairs,
Absolutely.
right? And it's all related to your GK and current affairs and everything, and also geopolitics. So you're not only learning about what's happening in your country or city, but other parts of the world, and why is it happening, how are they shaping or influencing us. I see your point, right? I would want you to advise three people, right? New students who are joining the media, right? I mean, you've said, but if you can concise it in one sentence, what advice you will give to children joining media, then related to media, films, right? Because some of the movies that come has no sense, right? And I mean, of course we want to get entertained, but there has to be some sense. And then a third part is what you're doing with NGOs and working for women's welfare or children's welfare. Um, if you were to give some example of where, or do a similar kind of thing that you are doing, right, and give their time, where they should go. So
Let's start with media students, because a lot of media students join media education with very fancy ideas that I want to look on TV and get into the glamour world and all of that. But it's not about it. It's just tip of the iceberg.
correct.
Media, if you are getting into media, it brings a lot of it comes with its own lot of responsible behavior. So you can't just be on TV, get into this profession to be on TV.
On TV, correct.
You have to have that responsible behavior. You have to be cautious of your presence, because you are representing the fourth pillar of democracy. You're part of the nation building. So only if that aspect of media interests you, you should choose media studies. And of course, glamour is part and parcel of it, not the focus.
It's a byproduct of it.
Yes. Secondly, to film makers, film students, or filmmakers also, I think cinema is more than an entertainment tool. Every story that you make, you have an opportunity to make your presence felt and do a social change. Do not miss that opportunity. So while you are entertaining people, also sensitize them with one change that you advocate.
Correct.
And thirdly, to the women, I think this is something which I start my speech with whenever I'm at workshops. If you're not helping your own self, nobody's going to help you. So a lot of shackles that women live with are not because men are not wanting them to, be
They may
empowered.
not be the villain.
Absolutely. Unfortunately,
They could be, but not. Sometimes they are only. People feel they are the only villain.
No, I disagree to that. In my all gender advocacy talks, I never say that men are to be blamed for women's situation in society. I always say that men are also victims of patriarchy. So nobody, I mean, at least in today's time, whatever the toxic behavior that you see in men, it is not that they realize that it is a toxic behavior. It is just part of the cultural and social ecosystem. So let's start by assuming that men are also victims of patriarchy. It just changes your perspective of looking at gender advocacy. And to women, I would say that you have to help your own self. If you don't want to help yourself, nobody is going to help you. So you have to be your own advocate.
Yeah. I think that advice could be for everyone, right? If you can't help yourself, nobody's coming
True.
to help you.
True.
So we'll end this conversation on that amazing advice. Thank you very much for
Thank you so much.
being a guest today. And I think I hope your journey inspires a lot of women, who want to get into education and work with helping other people. Thank you very much, and I wish you all the best.
Thank you, Jyoti. You were fab in your interview. I just enjoyed this conversation.
I'm glad. Thank you.